Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for joining me again. This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. This is part 2 of the fish room mechanics, where you guys can see all the things that are going on in the fish room, on how I built it, and the shelving and the filtration and the air and everything else that goes into designing this thing. As again I said before, it's difficult to kind of understand how a fish room works when you see it on video. So I hope through this you guys can get a little bit better idea of what I've done. So without further ado, let's move on. Okay, so the other issue that I have to deal with out here is, again, I have no drain out here whatsoever. So I don't want to pay a plumber to come in here and hook up a drain through the wall. So you guys have probably seen some of my other videos where this is the area that I use. This is the sump pump. And again, this shoots outside to the water sprinkler system that I have set up. And then I also have I've got it drilled back there in the back. And then I've got just a simple hose that goes out to the yard. So because sometimes the sump pump can't keep up with all the water that's being pushed through it. So it's just a backup or an emergency. So I don't have, I was going to say a flood, but I'm going to say another flood because there's been a few. So the way the drainage works is, if you look on the back side of all the aquariums here, you see I've got this 2-inch PVC pipe that runs all the way to here. Now again, this one that we're looking at right here, that's the one that's built in front of the doorway, so it's about 1.5 feet off the ground, so it's definitely in the way, but there was no other way to do it. So I've learned to just have to live with it. And then you can see this one is going that way, goes all the way back there, and is at an elbow. That elbow turns and goes all the way behind all of these aquariums that are on this wall, as you can see right here. And so on almost all the aquariums, I don't have them all done yet, they have these ball valves here. And you can see I screwed up when I glued this one. I glued it the wrong way. It's supposed to be sticking out this way. So I just come over there, turn that. It'll automatically start siphoning down into the drain and then go out to the sump pump. Now, yes, these all have to be originally primed. So if they get too low and start sucking air, I will have to reprime them again. But I think I've only had to do it about one time. Okay, the next problem that I have out here is electricity. So I have two breakers that are out here, two 15-amp breakers, and so right now I have this new air conditioner slash heat pump that's up here. This thing, I think by itself pulls about 12 amps, so you can't really hook anything much more else into it. So everything else that you see in the fish room is all going into one circuit. Which looks like, man, that must be a lot. Well, first of all, I only have one heater right now that's running in here, and that's in the discus tank. Again, I'm cooling and heating the room and keeping the room at about 76, 77 degrees. Every single light you see, which there are 30-something bulbs, I think, in here, they're all LEDs. So they're only about 12 to 13 watts each. So literally right now, I think I'm only running about 7 or 8 amps. So I still have more room to put more lights on. I've got a few circulation pumps that are in these two 44-gallon trash cans. These are the ones, again, that I'm using to store water in before I put it in. I put prime and stuff in it. These two are not enough. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to build some kind of shelf here below these, lift these off the ground, probably about 3 or 4 foot, and then I'm going to go to the tractor supply store and buy a 125-gallon tub to put underneath those. So I'll have another 125 gallons, because that's not going to work. Because typically on the discus tank, I usually do a 90-something% water change almost every day, and that uses almost an entire one by itself. So obviously right now I don't have enough water. All right, so let's talk about the shelving now. Okay, so this side was the first one I built. So again, not really exactly sure what my plan was, what the heck I was doing. So I decided to do cinder block, because I thought to myself, okay, well that'll be easy whenever I want to take down and move. And I did all the tanks actually facing towards me, more as a display style tanks, which obviously you can't get as many of them in here. So I just used your standard 8 by 8 by 16 cinder blocks with 3 2x4s by whatever the length is on them, on each one of them. You'll see in the top one here doesn't have the same support that this one has with these cinder blocks. Since that tank is in the way, you can't put any there, so I don't have a tank here in the middle, because you can already see with these 220s up here, it's already starting to kind of sag in the middle, so I don't really want to push my luck with another tank. That's one of the things that I always worry about, is putting too much weight. If there's one of the first things I ever learned about aquariums is that 1 gallon of water equals 8 pounds. So I'm constantly calculating as I'm putting tanks up exactly how much weight that there is on there, and then trying to do some research to understand how much 2x4s can hold. And this, that, and the other. So this shelf here, built the same way. These I just added on. I'm gonna put four 10 gallons here, and I'm going to put 5 10 gallons up here, turned sideways. That's the ones that you saw out there painting. I've still got to go buy Petco and buy some more of them. This stand right here is one that I built just to hold 2 40-gallon breeders, just a normal 2x4 stand. Braced up. It's completely overkill for the amount of weight that's on it. Again, it's something I worry about, so I overdid it. I painted it black. And now this stand right here, this stand that you see that all these tanks are on, this side holds 18 tins, and this side will eventually hold 18 tins down here at the bottom. You don't see there's 6 there. That's my quarantine tank that I have separated off right there. This stand is actually a metal stand that I bought from Lowe's years ago that was for the chameleons. It was way overkill for them, but it worked out good, because now I'm able to use it in the fish room. The stands themselves, with just one section, one of these sections here, is designed to hold 5,000 pounds. So that's over 1,000 pounds per shelf. So if you've got 6 tins up there, that's 60 gallons, so that's 480 pounds of water that's up there, which it should easily hold it. Well, I'd like to go a little overboard, so I actually built these 2x4s here to act as reinforcements. As you'll see on this one too, 2x4s here and 2x4s down here to just to hold extra weight. And then if you look up under, you'll see that it actually has these metal grates that are on it. The metal grates, at first I put the tanks right on there, but I didn't like the way that they were acting. So I decided to build these wooden pieces here. You can see these right here that I used 2x4s, and then on top of all of them, you'll see this is it's the blue insulation board. That stuff works really well. It's more for kind of a big tank type thing. It helps to level your tank out, so if the 2x4s are warped or crooked or whatever, those will make up for it, so that you don't ever have to worry about your tanks cracking. 10 gallons, that's usually not that big of a problem, but again, it's kind of an overkill thing. But you can see that I've done that on all of them. And then I ended up finding these, instead of using 2x4s every time, which were kind of thick, I found some ones that were I don't know, 1 inch, they're 1 inch tall, so they don't take up quite as much room and the tanks don't set up as high. But again, I've got those on all of them. So that's the, I'll leave a link to Lowe's so you can see what exactly the stand is. I painted the whole stand black. The main reason being is because since I used it for the chameleons, it saw a lot of water, so it had a lot of rust build up in places, and I had to sand it down really well to get all the rust off. So I decided just to paint it all black. Okay, so we'll talk about the lighting a little bit. Again, we've just got all of these are they're equivalent to 100 watt, but they're actually, again, about 13 watt bulbs. Again, these are all the DIY ones that I made out of these planners. So on top, you'll see that's how I have all of these. If you come down here on some of these, you'll see I've used the rain gutter. That one I need to turn. I just put that one in, don't like the way it's sitting. That one you can see how it's done with the rain gutter. Same thing with that one. Each 3 tanks has 2 bulbs. And on this one I just used, that's another planner, I used a smaller one. This one that's just got some LED strips on it that suck. So that's very temporary. These I still have to get lights on. These have the same rain gutter, same bulbs. These are just little single planners that I use. Again, every single one of these things are just DIY. You can see here, these are the things that I buy to make them from Amazon, where you get a socket with a plug and a switch on it. Okay, so now let's talk about the tops that I have on the tanks. So all of these are the polycarbonate sheets you get from Home Depot. So they're just ones that I've cut out and put on, and then I've used these command hooks, I think is what they're actually called. That's what I'm using as lifts. I've heard people use them before and say they don't like them, and they wear out, but these strips that are on them, you can pull them off and put new ones on them, and they give you a bunch of extras. So I've got probably 100 extra ones to be able to replace it. I hope you guys maybe have a better idea of what's going on in my fish room now. I'd love if you guys got any kind of questions, please feel free to ask. If you guys got any kind of suggestions that you think I could do to make things better, or you know, maybe fix a few problems that I may have, I'd really appreciate you guys communicating with me. Be sure and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And thanks again, guys, and God bless.